We have to wait sometimes, Feist, but when you decide to come through with the music, it is so beautiful and so worth it, and it's so good to see you. How are you? Missed you.
Hi.
It's great to see you.
Well, that's nice to hear.
It's beautiful. I mean, you know, just the opening salvo, right? Everybody's got who's got the guts to sit with it. I mean, this is big. This is a big. It's a big moment. Like a really simple and obvious question, I guess, but I'm really dying to know. Where were you when that observation came to mind? Because it's such a beautiful human thing to say.
Oh, that's a good question. I think I was just in the reverb chamber of isolation, like everybody else, where we were confronted with ourselves on this whole other level. And, you know, reports from friends, reports from family, it just felt like everyone was going through the similar thing.
Yeah. You know, I know, I mean, it seems like another lifetime ago, that whole experience, in the sense that it just feels like it was sort of a parallel existence to our existence that was already underway. Like somehow we had to just have a different life for a few years, and it felt very strange. And I know that it really affected the artistic spirit in a lot of ways, and a lot of my friends struggled to make music and struggled to find their voice. But it sounds to me like you were able to do so in some capacity. I guess if these songs really took shape then.
Yeah, I guess I was, you know, the world disappeared. There was this moment that stretched and became not a moment, it became like an epoch. It felt like it was never going to end.
Yeah, it did,
and so somehow there was just this primary relationship that I had with writing songs that was sort of a respite from the feeling that I was never going to be able to engage in doing it with people. Like, you know,
so
look at here we are talking. There was a moment where I felt like this would never happen again. Playing a concert would never.
Totally. I was talking to someone about this on the weekend. I was saying that there was a moment at the start of sort of 2021, nearly 12 months into it, and I really felt... By the way, it's good to talk about now. A lot of people didn't want to talk about it. Like, this is buried. I think that's really unhealthy. I think we have to never forget that experience happened to some degree. And I just remember thinking after a year, like, oh, wow, I don't know now. Like, I thought we were going to be okay, and now I'm not sure how long this goes on for. Hi, by the way. I just started straight away because the song was so beautiful. It's really lovely to see you. How have you been?
Hi.
How are you feeling now that music's coming out? Because this isn't the only song we're getting to hear today, and there's an album, The Multitude. So, I mean, how does this all feel knowing that it's taken shape and that we're going to get to experience it as fans?
Well, I guess I feel like increasingly anything in life, it seems like there needs to be a balance of what's happening for you on the inside and how you're folding it outwards. And because all of this was written at a time when I would have imagined no one would potentially ever hear it, or how are we going to engage with each other in a natural way again, it's sort of an ultimate ode to my own solitude and fessing up and facing that interior mirror. And, you know, through my daughter arrived and my father left, it was like this life crucible. And so I was writing for myself. In a way, I was writing to just enjoy my own weights and balances of what I enjoy about the craft and why I have done it my whole life, and just dedicating to my own vocabulary about it. And it really felt like I was writing inward to myself. So the fact that it's coming out, you know.
Yeah, I know, which is kind of, I guess in a weird way, you could have just held on to it. I mean, that's the beauty of writing something as personal as that, is it served its purpose to some degree, not entirely, just getting it done. And I listened to a line like "hiding out in the open," which I've never heard in song before, which is always such a thrill. And I feel like in some respects that is sort of the artist's default position, is to sort of be a part of society, but be observing things at a level which you can then apply and translate, which most of us don't do. We go through life and we're just dealing with things as they happen. I feel like artists have to absorb in a different way in order to better express.
I mean, I would say you have some particular insight into that, since you speak to so many people and you hear so much of what's being made, and then you get to hear what's going on in their mind, in their own practice about it. But I'd say you're right, and I'd say that at the point where you're writing to a body of work, or you're writing to something that maybe makes sense only to you, a certain prismatic triangulation of all your experience, and then how you want to create a frame around it and create a tangible thing out of this ineffable, time just keeps rolling, but songs are this amazing little breadcrumbs in the forest where you can, I've had the experience because I've still sing songs live that I wrote 20 years ago, and I'm communicating it, like time is this accordion that folds over itself, and I'm able to have a direct moment with my 21-year-old self. You know what I mean? I'm able to have these kind of, I remember exactly what I was thinking, and now I have different perspective, and I could learn from it. And so to begin to write where you're hoping, I'm hoping to leave myself these breadcrumbs that'll continue to sort of bloom and fold open, make them open enough, vague enough that I can hear what was happening specifically, but I'm not tying it exactly to a time where it won't be able to live 20 years from now, 40 years from now.
Time is strange with song. Beck said that to me once. He talked about the way that songs change shape, and it feels like they almost physically change shape with the time, and that time can be really kind to a lot of songs, and especially, music and albums that are misunderstood at first. Time is so kind. Over time, we really understand them. We understand them better, and the courage of making those tough transitions from an artistic point of view, it's like we all need a bit of time, you know what I mean? I'm with Hanuman, who's obviously a huge fan of yours. I'm not sure if you've crossed paths, undoubtedly, and I wanted to give him a chance to say good morning and offer him a chance to speak too, because we share a mutual love for you.
Good morning. It's great to have new music from you. I've just been a fan for so long, and I think it's interesting that the way you contextualize this, you touched on this about this track about, your daughter arriving, your father leaving, and I really feel like that plays into this theme of time and how these songs kind of change shape over time. And you performing songs that are 20 years old, do you feel like you're able to breathe new life into the old music the same way you are into the new music?
Well, yeah, I guess I'd say thanks for that. It is such a strange thing that's so hard to talk about, and even musicians who try to compare experience, it's just so hard to put words to it. But I'd say that when the container of the song is robust enough that it can survive reinterpretation, or it can survive your life completely changing, or new responsibilities on your shoulder, and the song still somehow survives those changes because it's maybe not so temporally linked. It's not the journal entry. If you write the song where on Tuesday you said this and then I felt this, and then, but if you kind of pull the camera back and do a wide angle take on a particular moment, I felt like this record in particular, I was more interested in not, the conditions were pretty specific, but they were kind of boring because, as we all know, the conditions were just staying still, but there was tons of tumult and movement on the inside. And so to try to just get little psychic Polaroids of what that experience is what's going on the inside, and then make it into something on the outside, then I think those are the kinds of songs I hope that will survive. But as we all know, any record you've made, a year into touring it, there's 5 songs that you just don't play live anymore. I mean, no, you don't even know why. It's just like they didn't make it.
Psychic Polaroids too, by the way. That's an absolute perfect way to encapsulate that.
Is there any specific purpose to releasing a song like this on a day like today? I know it's your thoughts and you're kind of internalizing to express, but when I look at a line like "Love is not a thing you try to do; it wants to be the thing compelling you to be you," and you put a song out like this on Valentine's Day, which is one of the great romantic marketing moves in human history, right? I mean, I refuse to be drawn into it every year until Valentine's Day, and then I'm dropping a ton of dough on flowers, and and I've been married nearly 24 years. My wife and I always joke about it, but we always do it because it really is, they got us, right? They got us. When they invented it, they kind of got us. They're like, don't be a stooge on Love Day. So I wonder if whether or not you want to, is this sort of any sort of, did it cross your mind? Is that a reason why we're getting it today?
Well, I guess it felt a little cheeky, I suppose. Because what the pandemic revealed was a lot of, something like a cousin to a psychic Polaroid would be, the relational X-ray. There's a lot of, I think we can aspire to something higher than just falling into habit and falling into roles. Roles get concretized. Like, you are the one who gets mad, and I'm the one who is passive aggressively pretending I don't understand why you're mad, or whatever.
Right. Are you talking about the great soap opera of relationships? Is that what you're talking about? That we all slip into these roles, these wonderful roles?
Yeah. And it's typecast at some point. So I suppose it's just a bit cheeky to call, let's pretend love is an animating force. The thing that comes into you and acts through you, and it wants you to be, you know, it's just the feeling of aspiring to answer to love, not to answer to the roles that you've been cast, or the roles that you've fallen into.
Yes.
Because love is more powerful than a